Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Roster Lock podcast. Today is Thursday, July 30th. We're going to be talking about baseball ongoing. We got some fights going on with the Astros and Dodgers that we'll briefly get into here in a second. We're also going to cover NBA action. We just had some NBA action on Thursday. We're going to be having some on Friday. It's going to be some exciting. Lucas, let me bring you back into this Astros Dodgers fight. Have you seen the clips of this?
Yeah, and that's some of the very few times that baseball is actually exciting to watch. As a baseball player, I can say that, but yeah.
Okay, real quick, do you think it was intentional first?
Oh, of course, definitely, and well deserved.
Because it was like yeah. Okay, never mind. It was like a 94 mile an hour to the neck.
Yep. That's why I think that I'm all for all the Astros getting hit, especially Correa and Altuve. But you start getting into a 96 mile an hour head pitch at the head. It is a little dangerous, right? I think they should get hit every pitch. I'm fine with that, but you're talking about like a potential serious injury there. I can see why people are getting mad. I can see why he's suspended.
I agree with you there. I think actually going after the head neck is a little crossing the line, but beaming somebody for the Astros is a different story. I think there's a fine line there between where you're trying to almost injure a guy versus just beam somebody and give him some pain.
Exactly. And I think he deserved it. It's interesting, though, that Joe Kelly has an 8-game suspension, and that's 8 games more than any Astros who cheated combined together. But yeah, cross the line.
Yeah, I mean that's a really good point with the suspension. I'm actually somewhat surprised just because of the shorter season with the 60 games. Each game makes so much of a difference now compared to the 162. So giving out free base runners, like just I was kind of surprised in the shorter season. What do you think about that?
Yeah, again, like I said, I think it's surprising that considering none of the Astros players got suspended. But if you look, was suspended 13% of the season, like 8 games in a 162 game season. Yeah, whatever, that's fine. But that's 13%, like you said, in a game where each game is going to matter, or a season where each game is going to matter. A little bit lengthy. I know he's appealing it, so I think it'll get reduced, but. They came hard for that suspension to set a tone.
Right, last question here I got for you. Do you think there will be any more implications or punishment coming out between the other people involved being with the COVID and the strict guidelines of things going on? Because you have people all avoiding all the restrictions or masks and whatnot, just fighting in general. What's your take on that?
Yeah, that's a good point that I didn't think about until you brought it up, that any bench claiming type of thing, all of a sudden you go from baseball being the most separated sport, right, where no one's really together, to all of a sudden more packed than a football field. So I think they are going to definitely use this as an example. Like I said, I think they gave Joe Kelly 8 games because they're trying to set the example here. Like, hey, we're not dealing with this, right? Maybe if people getting beamed is okay, but I think they're going to try to steer people away from those altercations.
Yeah, for sure. Good points there. It'll be interesting to see the fallout of that. Going on similar to baseball with the Marlins, we also had some football players opting out of their contracts on this same day. All that came out, which was earlier this week. Cam, I'm going to bring you into this. Are you surprised of these football players opting out of their contract? We're seeing really high name profile guys, a lot of guys from the Patriots. We just had Damian Williams from the contending Super Bowl Kansas City Chiefs. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I'm not surprised. Number one, I think it's Bill Belichick's plan to get those people not to be there. They got 6 guys, Bill Belichick's a mastermind. But just kidding, all jokes aside. No, I'm not surprised. Baseball doesn't have a bubble, and look what's happening to them. The games are getting canceled, and that alone in the NFL is significant. We're talking about 16 games, and you miss one game has to be canceled. When are you going to make it up? How are you going to do that? That's a playoff implication, and people want to take care of their families. These men have been lucky enough to been able to save their money, hopefully, and have a good paying career, and that they can do this, and that their family comes first. And I don't blame them at all for sitting out. I know some fans would be upset, but these people are human beings just like us, and they care, and they can get sick just like us. And we want everyone to be comfortable. And if that's not playing, then I'm supporting
Joked
that.
around a little bit about Bill Belichick being the mastermind. Do you think there is any chance that it was to free up cap space to bring in Jadeveon Clowney?
I won't put anything past Bill, man. That dude is look, he just signed Cam Newton for $1 million, basically for the bare minimum, and then he can earn up to $7.5 million. He did that with AB last year. This dude he gets people. Some people want to say he's trying to go get Trevor Lawrence, but I'm not gonna go that far. I wouldn't be surprised if he go get Clowney. He's out there on the board and go for it.
Last question I have for you on this topic. Do you think people are opting out because of the guaranteed money that they're going to be getting? Granted, it's coming out of their future pay, is what I'm hearing. But say for a running back, if you can use that money and get paid like Damian Williams, I mean, not everybody was a running back, but say you can get paid at least, six figures this year to do nothing and sit back home to be insured that none of this is going to impact you and then play on, especially for a running back where you can keep the tread on those tires. What do you think about that? Do you think that's a smart move? Do you think that's what people are doing? Or do you think they're just being cautious and it doesn't have anything to do with the money?
That's a very good point. I haven't even thought about that. And some of those things I just didn't even know. But I'm going to go err on the side of caution and say that they are doing it for health reasons and family reasons. Now, a guy like running back, some can argue that he should have won the MVP, not Patty Mahomes. I mean, even though Patrick Mahomes is GOATed.
I'm gonna agree with you there. I think he should have also won the MVP, but
yeah, that dude did everything. Like, how do you keep the stock up as a running back? You don't play. If you don't have an extra year of damage on your tires, then you're more valuable. But I really think that these guys are backing out because of their family and health reasons and maybe newborns. Like, if he just won the Super Bowl. We all know about Super Bowl babies. Maybe he has one. I don't know. But that's just something that I think that they're doing.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's really going to give them too much hardship about opting out. Everybody understands where they are coming from. I mean, yes, as fans, we want to see these guys play, but this is just crazy time. So I'm going to agree with you on that. I don't think there's too much impact or backlash, I should say, almost from anyone on that regard. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Roster Lock podcast presented by Budget Slates. And now with this exclusive offer, you can go to budgetslates.com and claim your free premium pass, giving you full access to member upgrades such as main slates. This free offer expires today, right as the NBA season gets underway tonight, 7:30, Thursday night games. So make sure you hurry up and claim that before this expire ends. Also, Budget Slates is on a 3-game winning streak. Cam, you know anything about that? Have you been using the slates?
Yeah, Budget Slates have won me a decent amount of money over this short little week that we've been going on. So I am happy about that, and those guys over there are really getting the tools down and catering their lineups. You even get a player pool, so if you don't like a particular player, you can even trade out one of those players if in that player pool if you want, and go with that. So they've really been helping me out these last few days.
Awesome, good stuff. Yeah, make sure you log on to budgetslates.com. We've got MLB, PGA, and NBA slates all up and running. So let's dive into the actual Friday night games. To go over them real quick, we got the Orlando Magic versus the Brooklyn Nets. We got Memphis versus Portland. We got Phoenix versus Washington. We got Boston, Milwaukee, Sacramento, San Antonio, and wrapping it up, we got Houston, Dallas. Now, Orlando Magic, -6.5 versus the Brooklyn Nets, and we have the over-under at 211.5. Cam, I'm going to stick with you. What are your thoughts of this game? I'm not exactly sure what to think of just because of the teams itself.
This game is something that I'm really not trying to get a lot of exposure to on tomorrow's slate. because one, it is a pace down game for the Brooklyn Nets, which means that Orlando Magic like to play a slow and rugged type of style with Vucevic and Gordon on the court. But another thing with this is the Brooklyn Nets don't have anybody. They just have Karis LeVert. Dinwiddie's gone. Durant, DeAndre Jordan, Kyrie Irving. They're not coming. They're not playing. So it's the LeVert show, and that I don't think they're going to be able to score enough points to hang with the Magic. So I'm taking the Magic will cover the spread, and I am going with the under of 211.5. But a couple players that I do like from this game, I do like Vucevic to center. I like Markelle Fultz, Terrence Ross, and Karis LeVert. I feel like all those guys have a great chance. Vucevic won't have anybody in the paint to really stop him. Yes, there's Jared Allen, but we're talking about two different tiers of player here. And Vucevic gets a lot of rebounds, and he does score a lot of points. Gets a lot of usage down there. A couple guys that I do dislike is just about everyone on the Nets besides Karis LeVert. Now, there is a couple players like Jared Allen and I forget the backup point guard's name, or the point guard that's going to be playing off the top of my head. But I will say that just about everyone else on the Nets I will not be getting exposure to. So I'm really going to be, if anyone on the Nets, I'll really be looking at LeVert. But that's
so you're going for almost kind of those dirty points, almost focusing on trying to get these rebounds, not cheat points, but big man points.
Yeah, I mean, rebounds are big point getters, especially if you're getting 20 a game. And he gets buckets. I mean, he does a lot of work in the post. He's a true center. He does he does run into a few assists. So I will be looking to roster him if the price is right. If the price is too high, there's a lot of value on this slate, so I will go somewhere else.
Good points. Honestly, I think this is a game I'm just staying away from. I just don't think it's enough lock for me to put one of those players in my lineups. Okay, let's shoot it over to Memphis, Portland. We got Portland at the -2.5, and 222 is the over/under. Lucas, let me throw this at you. What are your thoughts of this game?
Yeah. So this is going to be one of those games that's pretty exciting, or at least has exciting implications, right? We've talked about who's going to get that 8th seed in the West, and this is going to be a huge game for that, right? Whoever gets this game is going to have a big, especially if the Grizzlies get it, they're a game or two up. This will be a huge game for them to win, and a huge gap for Portland to get back. So I think overall the people I like in this game, I like Jaren Jackson. I think he's one of those young guys with a lot to prove. A lot of the focus is going to be on Ja Morant, and those two really partner well. They built a lot of chemistry over the season, short season, but they've had a lot of chance to build chemistry. I think he has some favorable matchups, and I'm really excited to see what Jaren's going to do. Dame, we've talked about Dame, I think every podcast so far. We've had some type of focus on him. I think Dame has favorable matchups with Ja and Dylan Brooks on the other side. I think this is going to be a big game for Dame to pop off, as well as his counterpart in the backcourt with CJ McCollum. I think those two are significantly better, especially right now, than Ja and Dylan Brooks, at least in the starting lineup. So I think those two together are going to be poised for a big game. Plus, I think Nurkic is back. So going to take a lot of pressure off of both Dame and CJ for them to, add points, whether it's assists, whether it's scoring, whatever it may be. They're gonna have some big games. And then on that note of Dylan Brooks, one of the players I dislike. I think he's just going to be overmatched by their backcourt the whole time, by the Blazers overall. So he's someone that I'm staying away from. And then Melo. Something tells me Melo first game back is going to try to do too much. So he's someone that I'm staying away from as well. I'm going to pick the Blazers to win this game, and I'm going to do, if we're looking at the sports book or the betting here, definitely going to choose the under. I think it's first game back. I don't think either of these are going to get to a total of over 222. I think that's pretty high.
Right.
So I'm going to choose the
you
under.
Briefly covered it. You're not high on Melo. I'm going to take him. Now hear me out. I know he's old. I know he can't do a whole lot other than score, and he's very scoring dependent. But the empty arena, I'm hopefully getting old school Olympics Melo, where he can just shoot, no pressure. So sign me up for him. I mean, I know it's a risk, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. Okay, next game. Got Phoenix versus Washington. Phoenix is at -7, and the over/under 22.5. I'm scared of Washington. Cam, fill me on the info.
Excuse me, sorry about that. Yes, this is a pace-up game for both teams, so we're looking for a lot more possessions. More possessions means more buckets, and more buckets means more potential money. So that's what we want. Um, Phoenix at -7 is a big number to me, especially for Phoenix, considering a team that isn't even supposed to be here. If the Eastern Conference had anybody over there below the 9th seed, I mean that it's ridiculous. So I don't think Phoenix will cover, but I do think they will win this game. I'm also taking the over. I think it's going to be a real up and down, not really a lot of defense type of game, and that's a great game to focus on. So that's what I will be focusing on my slates for tomorrow night. Also, I do like Devin Booker here in this spot. The dude he can walk out there and give you 70. Will he? Who knows? But I do expect a good night from Booker. Should expect some good shooting. DeAndre Ayton is also in a good spot. The Wizards are not bringing their center along, their power forward. So I think he's going to be able to take advantage of that. He's also been shooting a couple threes in the preseason scrimmage games, so that could be good. I also like Ricky Rubio. He's Mr. Do It All for them. He gets assists. He gets a lot of steals, surprisingly, and runs into some rebounds. So I am on Ricky Rubio. But from the other side, Brown Jr., someone's got to play the guard position for them, and he is one of those guys that I expect to take those shots. You got Thomas Bryant, the center, over there. Might just run into some rebounds. He's got a high motor. I got him, and then I got Rui. Since the power forward is gone, he's going to be getting a lot more minutes at that position. A couple guys I don't like, it will be Sark from Phoenix. That's not big on him with Aiden back, and then Ish Smith. Ish Smith could be a good option for you guys. I just think Shabazz Napier is going to be playing better. I think he's going to have more of an impact on the game, especially before the stoppage. So I will go with Shabazz Napier more over Ish Smith. But yeah, I got Phoenix not covering the 7 points, but will win the game.
Quick question going back to your likes. For the price they are, given that the field in that slate, would you take Booker or Rubio with the price taken in consideration?
Honestly, I would take both of them. But if I had to choose one, I would probably take Rubio because there's a lot of shooting guards, especially on this slate with Luka being classified as a shooting guard for FanDuel, and I believe James Harden's also classified as shooting guard. So I would go Rubio at point and then try to get it up.
So
for
you
one
think
of those
it's
guys
kind of a draw when you're picking those two players? Now let me remind you, we got Rubio at 6,500 at point guard. We got Booker at 8,000 for shooting guard, just for background information.
Oh, for that information, it's Rubio, a couple tiers above Devin Booker. Nothing against Booker. He's just more of a volume shooter type of guy. So if he's hitting, it's great. If he's not, it's struggling. Rubio is not one of those guys. He gets a lot of assists for his team and plays really good defense. And steals on FanDuel are worth a lot of points. So I'd rather run into Rubio than
All right, I'm going to agree with you there. All right, let's move into the next game. We got Boston versus Milwaukee. Milwaukee at -4.5, and the over/under 218. Lucas, throwing this back over to you. What do you see going on in this game?
I see a lot. This is another good heavy hitter to start the season, similar to that Clippers and Lakers game that's going to be Thursday. So overall, I'm going to take the Bucks to win it all, or win the game. Sorry. I think they just have a little bit more of a mismatch for the Celtics as a whole across the board, top to bottom. And for my players, I like Giannis here. Again, I don't see really anyone on the Celtics matching up with them. Sure, there are some things they can do to stop him, whether it's zone or whatever it may be. But it's game one. against another heavy hitter. I think this is one game we're going to see a lot out of Giannis, just like I think we're going to see a lot out of LeBron when they play the Clippers. And then I see them trailing off later throughout the next 8 games. So Giannis is someone I think is going to really pop off on Friday. Next is George Hill. George Hill coming in with the second squad. He's going to be the leader of that. He's going to come off with some better mismatches on that bench squad. As well as he actually, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, started the second half of the game for the Bucks. I know it was just an exhibition game, but I think his minutes are going to uptick a little bit. So that's someone I like in this matchup. And then on the Celtics side, I like Kemba. I think Kemba really will have a good next 8 games, have a good postseason. This is a chance. This is someone that we didn't think about really has a chance to build his legacy, right? A championship, at least a finals trip, something for him is really going to help boost him. He's been on the Hornets doing absolutely nothing for the past however many years. So I think Kemba is going to have not only a good game here, but have a really good stretch of 8 games and into the playoffs. People I dislike, not big on Hayward. I just don't see Hayward's usage is down a little bit, his usage percentage. He's it doesn't have the most favorable matchups here as well. I think he's not going to be the focus point. Someone I'm staying away from is Gordon Hayward. And then Marcus Smart. I know Marcus was one of Cam's people in our first podcast talking about maybe busts or someone they're going to stay away from in these 8 games, and I couldn't agree more. So I'm going to stay away from Marcus Smart. And then I'm going to choose the over in this game. I think, again, this is going to be a heavy-hitting game. 2 of the best teams in the league. The over-under set at 218. I'm definitely choosing the over on this one.
I think you just dislike Hayward and Marcus Smart because of the last podcast, the quickfire question I gave you if they could outscore Giannis. But hey, that's just me.
that is a good point. I didn't think about it. Definitely staying away from him now.
That was a very good point. I did not even catch
Trying
that.
to slide that one through me. I see how it is. All right. Cam, I'm going to throw your last game here. We got Sacramento -2.5 for San Antonio. 216 is the over/under. Give me your final thoughts of this game.
This game is a little tricky for me because it has potentially a lot of value players here. But I don't like the over/under at 216. I feel like that's a pace down. It's not going to be very up tempo, might be draggy, and when the game happens like that, there's other games on the slate I'd rather go to. But it's a good spot. I think San Antonio wins outright, but I am taking the under. I don't think they get to 216, but they do win outright. They beat Sacramento. But a couple players that I do like from this game will be De'Aaron Fox. He is a good fantasy producer, and he could go off at any time. He always has the ball in his hands for Sacramento. I like DeMar DeRozan with LaMarcus Aldridge out. This guy, when Aldridge was out earlier in the year, he was lighting it up. He was lighting it up for him, and I think he has to do it for him again. But with that, right before the stoppage, the other guy I like would be White from San Antonio, Derek White. He had like 55 points right before the day before the stoppage happened, and he just lit up the fantasy world. He's always been a consistent guy. He can hit his shots. He's a ball mover. He gets some assists for his guys, and he's just a good 3-point shooter. Another guy from the Spurs that I like will be Trey Lyles. Someone's got to fill in for that power forward position. Someone's got to get the minutes. So I got to go Trey Lyles there. And Buddy Hield from Oklahoma, Lucas's bread and butter. So, excuse me, I'm sorry. But Buddy Hield is a good shooter, and you need that sometimes. I will go also, what I dislike will be Jacob Podol. He burned me like 4 times, and I know you're supposed to have a short memory here in the daily fantasy world, but I'm not forgetting that. My man had like 2 points in an NBA game. Like 2 fantasy points in a whole. He played like 20-something minutes. He had 2 points. I can't forget it. That hurt. I don't like DeJounte Murray, the backup point guard, our potential starting point guard for the Spurs, and then Harrison Barnes. I'm not big on him either. But I will say Spurs win this outright.
That kind of reminds me of the meme. I forget who it is, but it's like the stat line where it's like 12 minutes played, 0 points, 0 assists, 0 rebounds. Like, I forget what it is, but it just reminds me of that. One other question I got for you. So we're talking about Sacramento. I'm not high on them, but I think it's just because I haven't really seen them. Is that just recency bias, which I know Sacramento has always been awful for the last 10 years? Is that just me not paying attention to them this year, or have they kind of outperformed what they're capable here towards the end of the season?
No, I mean they're not a bad team. They got Harry Giles over there. They got De'Aaron Fox. They had Bagley, but I believe he's hurt. He's not playing in these seeding games. And that's one reason what to keep me off of them because they just don't have the firepower. Harrison Barnes is not a bad role player. I don't think he deserved that much money for his contract, but hey, kudos to you for getting it. That's what you get when you're a champion. Buddy Hield, I mean, he's been actually better when he has been sitting when he comes off the bench and he can lead the second unit. He gives them some firepower over there, and they got Bogdanovich on that team. It's just a baller. I think it's a good team. I just not big on them because Marvin Bagley's not playing.
All right, and then did you say the over under 216? Are you taking that? All right.
I'm taking the under.
Last game, Lucas. I got you. Got Houston, Dallas. This should be actually an exciting one, I think. Got over under 226.5. Fill me in on the details.
Yeah. Starting off, actually changing my mind from yesterday. I think this is when we all unanimously picked the Mavs to win. I'm actually going to change it up, and I think Houston's going to win this game. I was watching their exhibition game last night, and I know again, exhibition game, don't put much stock in it, but some of them they looked pretty good. You know, Harden dropped 30 in the first half. I think they've got some things to prove. I think they're going to come out firing on all cylinders in this first game. So I think that the Houston's going to win this. On the opposite side, I do like Russ. I know we talked about Russ looking a little shaky, but I just see Russ coming out high. It's game one back in the season. Russ, no matter what game it is, he's going full speed all the time. So I see him dropping up or putting up a lot of numbers here in a good matchup for him. I don't think anyone on the Mavs can really match up from him from a defensive perspective. So I like Russ. On the opposite side, I like Luka and Kristaps both. I think the Rockets don't really play the best defense outside of like Robert Covington and maybe PJ Tucker, but I think Luka is just going to go to town from a full scoring, dishing, rebounding, whatever it may be. And then Kristaps, we all know the Rockets are playing small ball. They don't have any size really. I think Kristaps is going to have a field day. He's just so much bigger, can do a lot from the outside and inside. So I look for both Luka and Kristaps to have big games here. I dislike Austin Rivers here. I think a big focus is going to be on Harden and Russ. I just don't see Rivers doing much. I know sometimes he's a value pick, but I don't think Rivers is doing too much here. And then I have an interesting one. One I couldn't decide on was Maxi Kleber. He's a big guy. Right? He's definitely a stereotypical center. And it was really hard choosing between, okay, Rockets are going small ball. This dude should feast down low. He should put up some good numbers. Or, hey, are the Mavs going to try to match the small ball and not use him much? So there's one person I'm going to keep an eye on personally that I wanted to throw in was him. Just because, again, I think it's going to be interesting to watch. And then I'm going to choose the under here. These are two high-scoring teams, but 226.5 is a lot. So I'm going to go with the under for the first game. We kind of
went over all the lines here for these games. Do any of them stick out to you that you're taking, or what are you most interested in? Let's say.
Yeah. So from a line perspective, my two favorite that I'll be going is Portland at minus 2.5. I think they're going to win this game. I think they will do it not easily, but definitely by more than 2.5. So I'm going to choose Portland at 2.5. And then the Magic at 6.5. We've had our fun with talking about the Nets the past couple of times. I think the Magic win that game pretty easily. And then I'm going to choose another one. I like that Bucks and Celtics over. I think they're easily going to hit that 2-8 team. Not easily, but I think they're going to hit it. So I'm using the Bucks over. And the one that I really disliked, and I think Cam hit on it earlier, was the Suns at minus 7. I think that's a big number for the Suns and Wizards. I know the Wizards. Right, they're coming in there with basically a B squad. They're not very good, but I don't know. I feel like that 7 is a lot for the Suns to cover. So I'm staying away from that.
Cam,
one.
I'm going to throw this over to you. I'm going to kind of ask you a little individual questions here for the slates. What's your favorite overall play for the night?
There's a lot of great players playing on this slate, but Lucas was talking about it earlier, and my overall best play for the night is Giannis. And the reason why I'm going with Giannis is he's probably going to be the highest on the slate. Like, even with boys like Luka and Harden and Westbrook, Giannis is probably going to be the highest price on the slate. And with so much value on this slate, I can fit him in my lineup. So I really want to get a lot of exposure to him because he is a machine. No one can stop him when he gets to the rim. And I don't know how carrying the Boston Celtics are going to be to play defense, especially coming back. So they're not going to pack the paint. Giannis is still going to have the same field day. So I'm going with Giannis for my favorite overall play.
What's your best value play for the night?
Yeah, I mentioned it a little bit earlier. I'm going with the San Antonio Spurs, Mr. Derek White. I think he's going to he's in a great spot with some guys not playing. He's going to get a lot of run, and I think he's going to have another big game. I mean, I think he is one of the best.
Last question I have you. Anyone fading for you? So, like, maybe anybody you had in your lineup early on, just kind of seeing what's out there, and then as the games get closer, you're taking them out of your lineups.
Yeah. I'm fading almost everyone from the Nets and the Wizards. Like, except for a few, obviously, but unless you want to play a star scrub lineup, don't play a lot of Nets or Wizards, or really any. I mean, 2 or 3 is cool, but now if you want to get a lineup with a Luka and a Harden, or Luka and a Giannis, and then you need to pick up a lot of value, go for it. Sometimes those lineups work, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't know exactly what we're going to do over here at Budget Slates, but I say if all in all, just try to fade.
Yeah, for sure. I was looking at my lineups, and I also have no Nets, no Wizards. So I am agreeing with you 100% on that. So we got the games tonight. We're not going to do host picks tonight because we got the 2 games. We're going to kind of keep it at an even playing field, at least, with the scoring, because, I'm going to be up probably 6-4 on you guys, I think. So I want to keep it close.
Delusional. I have to listen to Lucas talk about this stuff all day. I mean, Lucas says delusional stuff all day. Now I got to come to the podcast and hear you say it.
Well, we got the 2 games tonight. That's going to be awesome. Everybody's ready to get back into basketball, watch some basketball. Make sure you head over to budgetslates.com. Check out the lineups over the weekend. Like I said earlier, we got basketball, we got baseball ongoing, and we also got the PGA this weekend. Do you guys have any closing remarks or any last comments going into the weekend with the slate of games across all sports?
Yeah, I feel like PGA is going to be good this week. I know we're talking about NBA right now, but I feel like PGA is going to hit this week, especially with the no-cut event. MLB is MLB. Every day, you never know what's going to happen. And I think NBA is going to come out strong. I think NBA is we're all going to be tuned in. I think we're going to be invested. I think the players that are supposed to ball are going to ball, and we're going to get a couple surprises. It's going to be fun to actually
all right,
be able
Lucas,
to watch it.
You still think LeBron's getting a triple-double tonight? Man.
Easily. Yep. Uh-huh.
No,
I think so. I think so. I think he's going to get, at the very least, very close. I'm very excited for the game tonight. I'm very excited for the Bucks Celtics tomorrow.
All right.
So
we all know you're wrong on that. But hey, we'll review that next week. We'll review all the games that happened this weekend, all the slates. We'll cover all of that next week. Make sure you tune in to the Roster Lock podcast. This has been Mac along with Cam and Lucas, and we will catch you next week.